Welcome, WoW fans, to my tutorial video for my application WoW G910 to show you the best way to get your G910 keyboard lighting up and being a part of your Warcraft experience. Now, the first thing we want to do is make sure that you've got a good lighting profile set up in LGS for your keyboard, because that's what you're going to be seeing most of the time when you're playing the game. So I've got LGS 8.88 running here. We want to create a new profile for WoW. So we go to this screen, click the plus, we'll call it Warcraft. We have to add the executable to it, which for me is over here in Program Files, Blizzard World of Warcraft, and it's the WoW 64 is probably the one that it's definitely the one you're using on a Windows 10. So we'll add that profile in. Now you can go ahead and program your G keys, but let's just concentrate on the color programming for now. Although you want to make sure that your enable per profile backlighting is on and you've selected that new Warcraft profile that you just created. Now, although you do have some options here for these animated color schemes, they don't work with WoW G910 because it will stop their animation when mine plays. So you need to either use this zones animation mode, or we'll just go ahead and set something up here in the freestyle mode. So we just want to set something up so we can tell that LGS is actually changing the colors when WoW starts. So we'll go all purple there. We'll go ahead and throw some blue on these G keys. And then we'll add some highlight to our motion keys here. And we'll light up those arrows as well. All right, so we've got just something that shows us, yes, this is distinctly a WoW profile. We've saved it in LGS. One other thing to check is clicking the big gear here, and under the General tab, make sure that Allow Games to Control Illumination is checked. Okay, and with that all set, we can put LGS to rest. Now let's just make sure it's working. So I'm back now. This is my green default profile. Let's go ahead and click on World of Warcraft and play, and make sure that when the game starts, the keyboard profile does change to match World of Warcraft, and indeed it does. You can see we've got the purple and the orange on there now. Okay, so we'll go ahead and quit WoW for now. Back and quit. And let's take care of the next big piece of business we need, and that is to make sure that Java is installed and running on your computer. If you don't have a link to the command line, like I do here, just click your start button and type CMD. You'll see command prompt comes up as the default. And into this window, you need to type Java space dash version. And you should get a reply like this, indicating that you've got Java 1.8 or newer is required. If you don't see that, let me just pretend I'll type Jav in there. If you get an error that Java is not a recognized command, that means you need to take your browser over to java.com and download the latest version. And then you will be able to then come back to this, type java-version, and see what you have. The other important thing to check here is this third line. This tells you whether you're running the 32-bit version of Java or the 64-bit version of Java. The most common and the one you'll download if you just click the Download Now button over on Java is 32-bit. That runs fine on Windows 10. And this, because it just says Java Hotspot Client, that is indicating that this is the 32-bit version of Java. If you had gone the extra step to download 64-bit Java, it would say Java 64-bit right here. So we know we have the 32-bit version. That's important when we go to download the program. All right, with those things taken care of, we're ready to go download my program. So to do that, you click on, you get your browser going here, and you need to go to home. And you'll see it appear right here. It's home.earthlink.net/Waldokind. And this will bring you to the program's homepage. You may have been here already. You probably saw the promo video on YouTube already. You want to go down here to the Download Now link. On this page, you'll see the Windows versions stacked right over here, and that's why I said it was important back in the command line to know whether we had the 32 or the 64-bit version of Java. We did not see 64, so we know we have the 32-bit version, so we click here to download it. And yes, we want to save it to our downloads folder, and it will it finished downloading, so we can now close the browser, open up our downloads folder, and we'll see the 32-bit version zip is sitting here. So we need to do a couple more things to get this installed before we run it. Let's look inside the zip folder, and you'll see that there is a folder here, G910 Transmit. That is the add-on that you have to install into your WoW game. So an easy way to get to that, if you got the launcher open, go down to Options, Show in Explorer. That will point to where your World of Warcraft is at, and you need to go down to this Interface folder and open that up. There is a folder called Add-ons. You need to install this folder in that Add-ons folder. So just grab it and drag it over there and drop it into Add-ons. And I already had a version there, so we'll just click Replace. You probably won't see that, but to make sure it is in there, you double-click Add-ons, and you'll have G910 XMit installed there. Now, there is also in that zip folder, there's a README file that shows you how to install it, but since you're watching this video, you won't need those directions. And this here is the application itself that you need to run. But you can't run it from inside the zip folder. You need to pull it out, put it somewhere. I'm just going to put it on my desktop, and we're done with that. And now we're ready to start the game. Just double-click the jar. If Java's been installed, it'll pop right open. This tells you got version 1.6 running, 32-bit, so that's all good, and it's been able to talk to the driver, so it should be ready to control your keys. It gives you an error that the calibration settings have not been found, so we're going to take care of that right now. It's the first thing we'll need to do when we get into the game. But let me walk you around the interface here real quick. There's a Help button. You click that, and whatever you have set up to read rich text files will open up all the information. It gives you instructions on setting up the program, describes all of the controls and the buttons, and even lists here all the animations that are in the game, so you can get all kinds of information from the Help button. The Test button lets you know that this program is talking to the keyboard properly. When you click on it, you will see the keyboard turns a red and white pattern. Also, your mouse and your headphones will also turn red at that point to show that it is talking to LGS. The reset button isn't going to do very much right now, but if you're playing the game and some of the flashing lights don't stop when they're supposed to and they just keep flashing, you can click this reset button and that will clean that right up. We'll get into the calibrate button in just a moment. There's a couple of other options to talk about. One is the action bar cooldown lights. With this feature enabled, the program and the add-on are going to work together to look at what spells are ready or on cooldown on your action bar and actually change the colors of the keys. If you want to adjust the colors that it changes them, you click the Set Colors button. Now you may have noticed that my keyboard already, the number row is now yellow, and that is because this setting was set to turn them yellow. Now let me set the F keys to be something that stands out a little bit more. How about this bright blue color? I can click on that. So now my function keys will be bright blue when they're ready. The number keys will be ready. If you want to check the not ready color, you can go over here. If you prefer to use like RGB sliders, you can come over here and make it show a dark red when they're not ready and click OK. So you can set these however you like. And then when I click OK in that window, you'll see within a moment that the function keys are now showing that blue that I picked. So that's all working fine. If you're not going to be using the action bar features, you don't want the buttons changing colors because of that, or you're using a custom bar mod, you can just click this and that all will go away. The second option here is alert when chat window opens. So normally when you get into combat, a bunch of the lights are flashing a red color, and which is what you want. However, if you accidentally hit your enter key and instead of casting spells, now you're just typing stuff into chat bar, I think we've all probably made that mistake. This little feature will alert you because the flashing red lights will turn into flashing white lights to indicate that, hey, you're in chat. If you frequently do type in chat while you're in combat, you may want to turn that feature off and you won't be distracted by that. If you now, for this feature down here doesn't apply to the G910 or the G18 or any of the keys that can individually color, any of the keyboards that can individually change their keys. But if you have something like the G213 that only has one color for the whole keyboard, you can turn on this mode to change the animations to appear better on that keyboard. Okay, and then you have a couple of convenience buttons down here. I'm going to go ahead and close that in the background. If you click the Blizzard launcher icon here, then within a moment, my program will launch the Blizzard thing for you, which is just a convenience, so you're not having to go through multiple menus. If you have a non-standard installation, like my WoW is not in the standard place, so if I click this WoW icon, you'll see I get an error that it's unable to launch. In order to fix that, just Alt-click on the icon, either one of them, and you can correct the path to be wherever your program is, so you have one-click access to that information. All right, well, that's a walk around the interface. The next thing we're ready to do is go play WoW. So let's go over here to the launcher and click play. Now what we should see, LGS will step in and recolor the keyboard. So there's the purple and orange that I set up in LGS, plus now the number keys and the F keys are being colored by WoW G910, the application. All right, now the first thing we have to do is make sure that the add-on is in fact enabled. So you're going to click your add-ons button here on the main screen, and for one character, all of them, make sure that G910 transmit is in fact checked. And with that, we are ready to go on into the game. Now the first thing to confirm once you're in game is that your screen's in the right mode. So you want to open up your system menu, and under graphics, make sure that the display mode is set to windowed full screen. If you're in full screen, the add-on will not work. It has to be windowed full screen. It's actually not the add-on, but it's the application that's looking for the add-on's messages can only show in windowed full screen mode. So once that's on, we can now begin the calibration process so that my application can actually see the codes being shown as events happen in the game. So to do that, you type /G910 calibrate. You'll get a message here that it's now in calibration mode. You need to Alt-Tab back to my program and click the calibrate button. You'll get a message, are you sure? And then so click calibrate again, and you'll start hearing a beeping noise across your speakers. Now click back to tab, back to WoW, and wait. And within a few seconds, you'll hear the ta-da sound, meaning the calibration was successful. To confirm that, you can Alt-Tab back to my program, and you'll see that message, calibration was successful. If it's not successful, look at the fact page on the website, look at the help on the program, and it will give you some clues. So now that we're synced up, we can make sure that they're actually working. So if I talk here to the unfriendly innkeeper, say I want to buy something from him, now I can click on the spring water, and as I click on that, you can see the animation for gold going out plays, and if I sell it back to him for some silver, click on that, you'll see silver coming in plays. So the WoW G910 is... Okay, we had a slight interruption there when I hit the escape key to close the vendor window. It stopped my screen recording. Okay, one of the other things you'll notice is that the action bars have now synchronized. So number 7 is dark on my action bar and on my keyboard. F8 is dark in both places. If I hit number 8 here for my consecrate, you'll see that goes on cooldown, and number 8 is on cooldown. And as that comes back around to ready, number 8 lights up. So we can set over here to some of the combat action. Click on this guy over here. You'll see as soon as I get into combat with him, my keyboard starts pulsing red like that, and then combat's over, it clears away. Let's do that again. We'll go ahead and click on him, get into combat, put my stuff on cooldown, and then as he does, then it clears out. So that's how the combat light feature works. There are multiple animations all over the game. If I want to go ahead and change my specification, I'll go into retribution spec. And that animation will play across the keyboard. So that's all there is to it to get it running. A couple of steps, and then from then on, you don't have to calibrate again. The game will simply work, and you can launch it right from the G910 interface. So if you have any other questions, you can get onto the website, send me an email, get on the WoWinterface.com forums, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Have fun in WoW.